Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session on the lasting impact of racism on school students. I'm really pleased you're engaging with this training because addressing racism in education isn't just important, it is essential for the well-being and the success of all our students. Our goal in this session is to unpack the profound effects racism can have on young people, mentally, emotionally, physically, and academically. And more importantly, to explore what we as educators can do to challenge it and create safer, more supportive environments. Let's start with today's session objectives. Firstly, we're going to understand how racism affects students' mental, emotional, cognitive, and physical well-being. Next, we're going to recognise how minimising or dismissing racism perpetuates harm. And finally, we're going to learn strategies to support students and foster anti-racist environments. Mental and emotional health. First, let's talk about mental and emotional health. Research shows that over 50% of young Black and mixed ethnicity students report experiencing racism in school, and 70% of those students report negative impacts on their mental health. Why does this happen? When students face racism, whether it's overt bullying or subtle microaggressions, they experience chronic stress. This stress triggers higher cortisol levels, which over time can lead to anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. So, what does this look like in real life? It could be a student withdrawing from friends, becoming disruptive, or even losing confidence in their abilities. These aren't bad behaviours, they're often signs of trauma, and recognising that is crucial to how we respond. Cognitive and academic effects. Racism doesn't just impact emotions, it affects learning too. Nearly half of young Black British students cite racism as the biggest barrier to their success. Why is that? The chronic stress caused by racism affects brain development and impairs concentration and memory. If students are constantly worrying about how they're perceived, they're using valuable cognitive energy just to feel safe, energy that should be available for learning. This can lead to disengagement, lower grades, and increased poor attendance. As educators, we can't afford to let that happen. Physical health consequences. It's important to realise racism effects aren't only emotional and academic, they're physical too. Long-term exposure to racism increases the risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, and other chronic illnesses. This isn't a coincidence, it's the toll that persistent, unrelenting stress takes on the body. We might not immediately see these impacts in our students, but they are happening nonetheless. The earlier we step in to create a more supportive environment, the better the chances we give our students to thrive both in and beyond the classroom. Minimising racism. Let's be honest, sometimes when uncomfortable topics arise, it's tempting to downplay them, This can come from a good place, but minimizing racism only deepens the harm. Let's break this down. Firstly, it dismisses lived experiences. When students say they've experienced racism, they need to feel heard and believed and their emotions validated. It enables harmful patterns. Ignoring racism, which minimizing essentially does, lets it continue, making it seem acceptable. It damages well-being and learning. Students who feel unsupported are less likely to succeed. It blocks progress. Schools that ignore racism miss opportunities to create better environments for all. It sends the wrong message. We teach students empathy and fairness, and ignoring racism contradicts that. So let's look at some strategies for supporting students. Let's move from awareness to action. We can do to create safer, more inclusive environments for all. Firstly, is by creating a safe space where students can share experiences without fear of judgment. It's about open communication. Acknowledge their feelings and validate their experiences. We can foster a supportive environment. Reflect diversity in classroom materials, from books to posters to lesson content. Representation matters. Respond to racism effectively. Don't brush it off or rely on punitive measures. Use restorative approaches. Help students understand why racism is harmful and how to repair the damage. Before I finish, I'd like to leave you with some valuable resources to continue your learning and to support your students. The NSPCC Talking to Children About Racism is an excellent resource. Young Minds, Racism and Mental Health. The Anti-Bullying Alliance have lots of racist and faith-targeted bullying guidance. The Runnymede Trust, who I've referred to their research on many occasions in these training episodes, have race and inequality in education resources. And the British Medical Journal have health effects on racism information as well. So let's remember, every student deserves to feel safe, valued, and empowered in our schools. And as educators, we have the power and the responsibility to make that a reality. I'd like to thank you for your time and for engaging with this training episode. Your dedication to this work is essential. So thank you very much.